Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel. In this video we're going to discuss the most important events that took place in the world during the previous 12 hours. We have a lot of very interesting updates, so let's start. According to media, during the previous night, two major strikes took place. The first one took place on the territory of Ukraine. The Russians attacked Ukraine with a significant number of drones and missiles of all types they have, and the United States of America attacked energy infrastructure of Iran in the area of the Persian Gulf. So during this video we will discuss these two attacks, and during this video we'll try to understand how exactly the United States of America are planning to finish the conflict in the Middle East. First, let's talk about Ukraine. Once again, the Russians during the previous night attacked the territory of Ukraine with lots of missiles and with hundreds of drones. And this picture was published this morning by pro-Ukrainian sources, and according to this picture we see that the Russians were using drones, the Russians were using cruise missiles of Ha-101 type, the Russians used Iskander missiles, and the Russians used cruise missiles and hypersonic missiles. The Russians also were using caliber missiles from the area of the Black Sea. And as you can see, most of the roads are moving just in one direction. It's the city of Kiev and the Kiev region. Lots of explosions were recorded exactly in this area. Later, the Minister of Defense of Ukraine published their own article regarding the regarding the work of the Ukraine's air defense forces. And according to this article, in total, the Russians during the previous night launched 498 air vehicles, including missiles and drones. The Russians used 2 Zircon anti-ship hypersonic missiles, 13 Iskander missiles, 25 caliber cruise missiles, and 24 Ha-101 cruise missiles. The pro-Ukrainian sources are saying that they managed to destroy every single cruise missile, but the Russians managed to break through Ukraine's defense with one hypersonic missile of Zircon type. When talking about this map, we see that there are lots of lines that are moving to the west of the city of Kiev, and it seems that during the previous night, the Russians were trying to destroy or at least to damage significantly the Kiev substation 750, which is located to the west of the capital Ukraine. So the Russians attacked mainly this territory, and it seems that Russians were trying to cut this substation completely from power stations, from nuclear power stations that are located in the western parts of Ukraine. We are talking about the Khmelnytskaya power station and the Rivne power station, and it seems that the Russians were trying to destroy and to cut the city of Kiev from the western parts of Ukraine. As of the morning of the 14th of March of 2026, we haven't received anything on this matter, whether the Russians managed to destroy this power station, this substation or not. The only thing we have is that the Russians were using 2 Zircon missiles to attack this territory, and the Minister of Defense of Ukraine confirms that they managed to destroy just 1 Zircon missile. So, which means that most likely one hypersonic Zircon missile managed to hit the target and maybe even to deal significant damage. Another important thing is that today pro-Ukrainian sources stated and confirmed that during the night they managed to bring down every single cruise missiles that the Russians used. We are talking about Ha-101 missiles type, and we are talking about cruise missiles of caliber type that were launched from the area of the Black Sea. And I would like to remind you that right before the beginning of this massive attack, we received a report that Ukraine received missiles from Germany. The Ukrainian Minister of Defense reported that following the meeting in Ramstein, Ukraine received a new batch of PAC-3 Patriot missiles from Germany. And this information was published right before the Russians began this attack. So which means that the Ukrainians had missiles to repel this attack, and most likely a lot of missiles indeed were destroyed by the air defense forces of Ukraine. But at the same time, we received lots of videos that confirmed that the Russians also managed to deal significant damage to Ukraine. When talking about objects of energy infrastructure, once again, we haven't received almost anything, but we received lots of videos from the city of Barova, from the city of Brovary that is located to the east of the capital of Ukraine. We have this picture where we can see the railway station. We have the picture of this huge fire that's intensified during the night after the Russians attacked this territory, and probably this picture confirms that the Russians, as a result of overnight attack, managed to destroy at least warehouse to the east of the city of Kiev. It seems that the Russians reduced the number of attacks through the territory Ukraine across Ukraine because it seems that the Russian drones and missiles are heading right now towards other regions of the world, maybe even in the direction of the Middle East. As of the morning of the 14th of March of 2026, this information hasn't been confirmed by anybody, but one thing is clear, that the Russians reduced their activities with attacks through the territory Ukraine. This is a very important situation. Now let's move to the southern regions of Russia. During the previous night, the Ukrainians also attacked in the direction of the Krasnodarsky Krai, and the sources are saying that as a result of attack, the Ukrainians managed to damage or even to destroy the Afipsky refinery. Probably they managed to damage this railway oil refinery, and this video was published by different sources this morning, and here we can see the consequence of attack, just a fire, probably a drone, or managed just a drone, a single drone of the armored forces Ukraine managed to damage this territory. Now let's move to the Middle East. During the previous nights, the second major attack took place right exactly in this area, and this time the United States of America attacked the most important island in the area of the Persian Gulf. The sources reported that the United States of America attacked the island of Khark, and this video was published by the US official sources, and here we can see how exactly the US authorities, the US military forces, were attacking this island with significant number of bombs. This video has a very good quality, and we can see that the coalition attacked lots of objects through the island, but the most important is that the US forces didn't attack, for example, oil refineries or oil infrastructure in this area. And another important thing, that according to this video we can make a conclusion that the US forces didn't attack the airfield itself. So there were attacks on the airfields, but it seems that the airfield still have possibilities to take aircrafts and to use aircrafts, for example, or for the US purposes. So it seems that the United States of America attacked this territory, but they were trying to save the airfield, because probably the United States of America are planning to use this airfield in the future. The Iranian authorities commented on the US strikes on the Iranian island of Kharg. According to a court, more than 15 explosions occurred during the attack, and thick smoke was visible over the island. So it seems that the United States of America are planning to establish complete control over the island of Khark. So that is why they didn't attack objects of energy infrastructure, because the United States of America wants to save control over them, and probably even to use this island in the future. I would like to remind you that 90% of the Iran export of oil goes exactly through this island and through this terminal. So if the United States of America establishes control over this territory, then can start forcing the Iranians to accept the capitulation or accept the demands of the United States of America. And it seems that the United States are planning to use Marines with the purpose to establish complete control not just over the Khark Island, but probably the United States of America will also try to establish complete control over the Hashem Island that is located right exactly in the Strait of Hormuz. During the previous night, we received at least 2 articles related to the situation. According to the first article, 2,200 Marines with the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit, accompanied by different ships and warships of the United States of America, have been ordered to deploy to the Middle East amid the ongoing conflict with Iran. So this is the first piece of news that was published during the previous night. Few hours later, we received another update. According to this update, about 5,000 units, 5,000 additional US Marines and sailors are deploying to the Middle East to support the war in Iran, according to the US officials. So it seems that either up to 5,000 soldiers or up to 7,200 Marines will be deployed by the United States of America in this area, just with several purposes. First of all, and the most important purpose, is to force the Iranians to accept the capitulation. The second purpose is to unblock the Strait of Hormuz, and the third purpose probably to establish complete control over the energy infrastructure of Iran. And of course, and the most important thing, to declare a victory. So this is the most important thing. The United States of America wants wants to declare a victory. But the thing is that the Iranians stated that despite the fact that the United States of America announces a victory, Iran will continue to attack U.S. targets in the regions if the U.S. declares its victory. So this is a very important thing, because as of the morning of the 14th of March of 2026, nobody still knows what kind of victory the United States of America will consider as a victory. To establish control over the Strait of Hormuz, to take under control the Iranian export potential, to overthrow the Iranian leadership, and so on. A lot of possible things, and nobody knows, and this is a very interesting situation, because if anybody from the Western side, not from the Western, but from Iran or China or Russia and you know what exactly the United States of America considers as a victory, of course, these states, it would be much more easier for these states to work exactly in this direction. As for the Strait of Hormuz, during the previous 24 hours, during the previous nights, the Strait of Hormuz continued being blocked by the Iranians. During the previous night, we received lots of videos from this area where we can see the current situation. For example, in this video, we can see how several ships were sailing or were making, just sailors were making videos of the Strait of Hormuz, and we can see lots of tankers that were destroyed, that have been destroyed since the beginning of the conflict on the territory through the Middle East as a result of the Iranian attacks. In this video, for example, we can see just a minute after another tanker was attacked by the Iranians, and the author of this video claims that maybe this ship, likely American oil tanker, on the fire in the Strait of Hormuz. So, of course, one of the most important tasks for the United States of America is to unblock the Strait of Hormuz, but the question is whether this situation is possible or not, because either the Iranians can control the Strait of Hormuz physically, with fire control, or with mine control, and obviously to establish complete control for the United States of America is going to be maybe even an achievable task. So that is why we have the most important question: what is the real task of the United States of America in the conflict in the Middle East, and what kind of victory the United States of America will consider as a main victory over Iran? And today we received the answer to this question, and the United States of America most likely will consider a victory in Iran if they take on the complete control 450 kilos of the 60% enriched uranium. According to information we have, during the previous days, there were talks between the President of Russia and President of the United States of America, and Putin proposed to move enriched uranium to Russia as a part of a deal to the end of war. Putin suggested transferring Iran's 450 kilos of 60% enriched uranium to Russia. Trump turned down the offer. The uranium stockpile is enough for more than 10 nuclear bombs if further enriched. So this is probably the most important thing, and this is exactly, if happens, the United States of America will be able to declare a victory over Iran, and the most important, over the Iranian nuclear program. So, which means that most likely the United States of America will try to establish complete control over the islands in the Persian Gulf, but the main task is to find, first of all, and then to take on the complete control these 450 kilos of enriched uranium, and this uranium most likely would be used, maybe even by the United States of America, to produce at least 2 nuclear bombs. So everything is possible, and this is exactly where the conflict is moving to. And that's it for the short video. The Military Summary channel reminds we condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.